Or not. Okay. Looks like we have a game here against People Hole. People Hole. He's playing white. He's 1500, 1537, our highest rated opponent so far. He plays d4. We'll go with knight f6. c4. Let's go c5. We'll see what he decides to do against this. White can play knight f3. He can push the pawn. Pushing the pawn is probably the most ambitious for white here. Now, I do play two different openings against this setup as white. I play the Binko Gambit quite a lot, which is b5 here, and I also can play the Benoni. I'm going to try the Binko Gambit out here, because it is one of my favorite openings, so it's always nice to get a chance to play it. If he captures. Okay, so he captures. a6. The Binko Gambit is all based on a lot of queenside play for black. We have these two open files here for rooks. We're going to have good piece activity pretty soon. And we'll see here what he does. So bishop g2, I highly assume. I don't capture the pawn on a6 just yet, because I want to get my kingside developed first. And it gives me options. I could play bishop takes pawn, knight takes pawn, or even rook takes pawn, depending on the situation. So it gives me options. I'm going to get it back anyways. He can't, stop me from winning it back. The check Benoni, I believe that's one of the options for that opening, but I'm not entirely sure which one I would have gone for. Alright, so when he plays e4, he should not probably play e4 this early, in my opinion, especially with the bishop on g2. Because I can play bishop takes pawn, and now this diagonal is very nice for my bishop. So we're going to get castled. Now the next plan is to put a piece on d3. So knight d7 to e5 to d3 is going to be a very powerful spot for a piece here. So that's pretty simple what my plan's here. Knight e5. Gonna just keep going with it. He can't move this knight because it's pinned. When he goes rook e1, I still have knight to d3. Doesn't stop my idea at all. Attacking the rook now, he has to go back. He's got to go right back, yep. Now, I'm going to go queen to a5. Notice how, despite being down a pawn, I have very nice play for my pieces. Knight on d3 is a monster. Bishop on g7 is very powerful, aiming right toward the queen side. I'm going to bring the other rook over to b8 and attack on the queen side some more. Not an easy position for white to play if he's not entirely sure what he's doing. So we're going to go rook here. I don't want to allow this bishop to develop too quick. If he plays bishop d2 now, I just pick up the b2 pawn. So he has to play like b3 at some point. b3 is a pretty typical move. Can I play the Alban counter gambit against the Queen's Gambit? It's a fun opening. Yeah, I can try it out. I haven't played that in quite a while, so I might not play it the best way in the world, but I can try it out for sure. Okay, so b3. There's a couple different ideas possible here. I think, let's see, I'm thinking about knight to g4 and maybe some kind of capture on f2. Knight g4, bishop d2, take, 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 take. I'm going to play it anyways and see what happens after this. I can always go back to e5 with it if I need to retreat. I do have a, okay, plays there. That's fine. I think I'm going to play c4 here. I think this is okay. c4. This also opens up the diagonal now for queen b6 and heading over to b2. He is threatening my knight, though, so I have to guard that. I think bishop takes is fine. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to take b2. We're threatening rook to b2, which is pretty strong. So he has to watch out for rook b2. He has to watch out for, like, knight takes pawn. He has to watch out for queen a7, which is another idea to hit on the f2 pawn. I think queen a7 is actually the best move here. He's got to find a way to guard that pawn, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. Alright, we're going queen a7. f2 is a big target now. If he plays bishop e3, I just grab it with my knight. If he plays bishop e1, that's probably what he has to do. The Alvin counter gambit's the reason why you play 2 knight f3. Yeah, so you can avoid stuff by holding off on c4 for a move or two. We're down a minute here, though, so I'm going to see if I can make sure I don't lose on time. That would be kind of unfortunate. So even though he's up a pawn, look how much pressure he's under. Bishop on c4 is terrific. Knight on d3 is awesome. We have big pressure on f2. a2 is even, I'll pick this up probably kind of as a last resort. Pick up the pawn on a2 at some point. He goes bishop e1. Rook takes, or knight takes. Okay, I think we're just going to go for this. I'm not entirely sure if that's the best move. I don't really have time to calculate with 19 seconds on my clock. Alright, take. Alright, I think this works. I could be way off on this. Alright, I might have been way off on this one, honestly. Yeah, it doesn't work. There was a different series of moves I had in mind there. I'm going to play bishop e3 next move. I'm down a piece. Okay, I misplayed that pretty bad, but we'll see. We can at least get the... let's take with the bishop to keep that guy alive. We're down a piece, but still a little bit tricky to play as him, honestly. The rook is pinned. He's got to be careful about a couple different things. We're going to play rook here, rook b2 maybe, or rook b1, or even bishop to b1. He's still doing title players, in case I'm interested. Yeah, I might do that a little bit later then. Let's play bishop to b1. His queen's actually starting to run out of squares. He has to go to d2 or d1, and I think I just pick up the e4 pawn. Oh, yes, f3, that's true. We're going to go bishop f6, just to make sure there's no f-file funny business. Rook to... Oh, we lose on time, don't we? That's unfortunate. Yeah, and I was not actually at a great spot there either. Okay, let's look at this one. Would have been nice to pick up our first win here. Okay, so the opening goes actually very well for us. I really like my position here as black a whole lot. I start... there's got to be a really good series of moves here for black. It feels like everything's kind of in a not-so-great spot for him. I'm sorry, for white. I think the move would have been bishop takes c3. Let's see, bishop takes. If he takes with the knight, I take here, and I'm threatening these two things. If he takes with the rook now, he's kind of in some big trouble. If he takes with the queen, I pick up the rook. And if he had taken with the bishop here, well, then I just pick up this pawn. He does get bishop d4, though, which is actually kind of annoying. Maybe I'd take this way. I probably should have just bailed out and just taken the pawn. Didn't need to get fancy with all the tactics there. Don't talk that much. He's an FM up-and-comer. Knight takes bishop, use the pin on the rook. Well, if I take here, he takes back this way. I guess still bishop d4. The problem is he has like knight c6 at the end of the day, and the queen is guarding this. And then he picks up the rook next move. Or, I'm sorry, the bishop next move. Yeah, it didn't need to be so fancy there. Let's back up a move. I took on f2. For some reason, I'm not entirely sure why, I was imagining that this knight was still pinned. So if I took on c3, I could take the rook, but the rook's not even there, so I'm not sure what I was even going for. Not sure what I was going for there. He stops the pin. Stops the pin again. I pick up the pawn. My position's still not bad here. I mean, I'm probably going to play bishop takes e4 next move. He has to play like knight c3. And then I play, you know, take, move, rook b1. He's definitely better, though. He's still up a piece. I didn't need to go for this tactic that doesn't work out. Oh well.